Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your night to join me. I really do appreciate that. And moreover, again, you're watching an episode of Vlogs About Nothing. They're all episodes, right? I mean, holy potatoes. Getting 800 videos soon. I'm really stoked about that. I want to waste some more of your time talking about nothing. So, again, can't thank y'all enough. I really do appreciate it, all gigs and gimmicks aside. I'll remind everyone that what I do here is for your entertainment. I mean, it's really the only way I can justify putting the camera on in my room every single night and talking to myself for a period of time. Also, a friendly reminder, they're all impromptu talks. So if you're new to the channel, there's absolutely never a script, and I am absolutely guilty of being a creator that has been just absolutely picked apart as it concerns some of the content that I release, and where the scripts or transcripts actually end up. You'd be surprised. But yeah, so tonight I want to talk about how I think the music industry is complete garbage, and a reflection of that is what we see Drake going through right now. All right, so in case you didn't know who Drake was or is, he is probably the most influential musician of the last, few decades, I'd say. Definitely the aughts belong to Eminem, but later on in the aughts, you definitely got to see Drake, with the mixtapes and stuff. And I tell you, I was one of those guys. I was jamming Drake in 2007, 2008, right when his first single dropped and the mixtape thereby followed. I mean, I was a fan. I have been a fan. Drake has been a big part of a lot of millennials' lives and cool Xers, right? Because it's generally the vibe when you go out. It's just he's still one of those musicians or one of those artists that everyone knows. And that's kind of rare because we live in an age where independent musicians and artists really kind of dictate how the music industry will eventually become democratized. And just how interesting and ironic it is to see the democratization of certain kinds of media and medium industries where typically they were making billions of dollars, and now with people like myself talking to themselves on their phone, providing content this way and in all other shapes and forms, right? I mean, you can find anything that you want, including music. So there's been, I'd say, a real, like, music the last 20 years has been an interesting thing to sell for the big guys, right? I mean, you've seen major artists around for a long time, they drop bangers. Obviously, it's just interesting that what I can't understand, and this is what I want to talk about, is recently the biggest song ever or whatever is Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. And I got to tell you that, like, that's a stupid song. And I've never seen anybody in real life, like, play that song. And the thing is Drake recently has filed suit for defamation against UMG and Kendrick Lamar. And the thing is that, like, it's what I think he should do. Just as it concerns these large music groups, Universal Music Group, right? And one of their artists. It's just they're both signed to the same label. I mean, essentially, they're both artists working for the same company. So anytime there's controversy or any kind of debate amongst the artists, it only benefits the label. And in this case, it's UMG. So Kendrick Lamar, again, what a joke. That song is terrible. Like, who, I just, again, it was one of those cases and one of those instances where I feel like the wording in the lawsuit is absolutely correct. One day I, scrolled on YouTube, and all I seen were just these mad sort of pop-in ads about this stupid song. And I mean, moreover, how many people clicked on it just because it was on their screen, just to not watch the entire video? Like, seriously, like, what are the numbers on that? Because I dare to say that most of those hits, close to the billion hits on Spotify or whatever, I mean, organically, maybe 40, 50 million views. I mean, but certainly not close to a billion. Again, I just, it's forced fed garbage that is trying to have a narrative, trying to establish a narrative to take down another artist. That's what this is. Call Drake what you want, but until proof is provided beyond a reasonable doubt as to what allegedly he may or may not be doing in his personal life, then I think it's pretty fair to say that when cats come at you on some grime and they're not even at your level, I mean, Kendrick Lamar, what? Like, who decided this guy was cool? Like, seriously. I'm a West Coast guy. I love Tupac. I'm all about West Coast vibes, you feel me? Like, I'm about it. One thing I'm not about is trying to get the coast to sponsor some grime on another artist when we just don't know, right? It's real easy to like allege things about people and all these other things, but again, until proof has been provided as to, what allegations are um unfortunately being thrown at Drake right now. I want music. I mean, I like music. I if Drake or Kendrick Lamar do things in their off time that are criminal, then like that's what we have cops for. I mean, I don't know. That's why they have ops. That's why there's informants. I mean, I don't know. There's people that do this and they get paid to do it. You feel me? So, like, as a fan, I want music, right? Drake makes good music. And when Drake's not making music, as a fan, I mean, I want music. I want more music. That's what I want from my artists. That's why I'm a fan. I mean, again, I haven't heard anyone say they're like waiting for the new Kendrick Lamar album. Like, again, at one point in my life, Kendrick Lamar was one of my favorite artists. Like, when he was on the come up, yeah, Money Trees, you feel me? There's some good bangers. I'm not going to say he's not made any good songs, but has he made a catalog of nearly 2.5 decades of bangers? Absolutely not. And again, that's like I'm, I live in America, right? I'm an American. Kendrick Lamar is an American artist, whereas Drake is a Canadian American artist because he's, still in North America or whatever. But like, nonetheless, can't come close to touching this Canadian boy. Like, what's up with the Canadian boys? You feel me? I mean, they got like Ryan Reynolds and a bunch of other cool people that do sick things in the world. You feel me? I mean, like, seriously, you got to give credit where credit is due. And Drake has been in our eardrums for a long time, and at different venues of all of our lives. It could be at a school dance, it could be at a reunion. I mean, the guy spans genres and generations. So, again, there's going to be some interest in taking this dude down because if Drake goes independent, the music industry's done. It's just done. And again, we all know that no one needs UMG. I mean, have they heard of YouTube? Have they heard of the World Wide Web? Seriously. I mean, Napster, at best, was a case brought forth by some boomer guitarist or vocalist or whatever. And again, Metallica is a great band. As people, I think they're terrible because, they sort of spearheaded this movement of trying to put a paywall between artists and fans. And, 2 decades later, we're in the same spot as we were, which is music labels arguing over a person's right to create their art. And when they're really good at it, they suffer the worst of consequences. So again, I'm interested in hearing Drake drop some music. I'm interested in knowing if Drake's gonna go independent or sign with the label. I'm a fan of music. That's what I'm a fan of. I'm not a fan of Kendrick Lamar deciding, that he's the coolest guy of the year, or that Not Like Us is going to be performed at the Super Bowl or whatever. I mean, how many of us are not going to watch the halftime show because there's some cheesy wannabe banger coming through the speakers that, like, is the most generic song ever and sounds like, I don't know who helped him write that song, but I can safely assume that it sounds like it came from like a 12-year-old. You feel me? It's not very complex. The song is just, at best, good the first time you hear it. And then it's it. So, like, that does not tell me that it's a good song. I can listen to any Drake album back to back all day long and really not have that many complaints. And again, this is across a catalog of many albums, not just two or three. So again, I don't know. I'm not about it. I'm not a fan of this whole bandwagon that everyone in the big music groups wants everyone else to join in on. Simply put, because I mean, that song, like, is on the radio. Like, how many people change the radio? Like, seriously, people can only, if they're forced to listen to something and they can't change the station, or they don't want to because they want to wait till the next song. Again, like, I just don't get it. And it was all fake, by the way. Like, all of those spots, all of those streams, I can't be the only rando out here that, like, doesn't listen to that song, but had it on the front page of their screen for weeks. Like, even after I would click the little dots and say, not interested, not interested, some other one would come on with the same music video. Again, like, I don't get it. That only happens when somebody's paying a lot of money to the host of a website to make sure that they're in front all the time, right? Like, again, we're not all that dumb. And so it's an interesting thing. This is Vlogs About Nothing. We talk about nothing. Link in the description below to 2.5 hours of one of my favorite content creators, Patrick, just sort of disassemble the entire situation and talk about, his theory as to what could potentially be going on with Drake right now. And again, I'm not the only one. There's got to be hundreds of thousands of fans all over the world who would love to see Drake go independent. Now, again, while there might be hundreds of thousands of people around the world that would be happy because of that, because we're fans of music and really, we just want a product that we can jam out and bang to, you feel me? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying that, like, it would also destroy the music industry. So there's some pretty vested interest right now in trying to make sure that Drake isn't able to do that. Like, I'm not about it. Let's help Drake. You feel me? These guys are clowns. They release and produce garbage. And that's being light on it, right? Because, again, they force artists to do certain things that they don't want to do, necessarily speaking, all of the time. So again, music labels and industry, it may have been needed back in the day when people didn't have the internet and you could just kind of take advantage of them and not know. I mean, how can you have such groups in the 90s like TLC, like, and not have any money? Like, these girls, or like the Backstreet Boys, are in sync. Like, seriously, these people are like household names and they didn't make a dime. Like, how awful is that? That's pretty terrible. Knowing that 20 years ago when we're listening to the Backstreet Boys, these little children weren't getting paid, plus TLC making some of the most awesome music ever released and produced in the 90s, just to hear that no one paid the girls either? Like, what? Somebody got paid because these artists sold millions of records. You feel me? So again, like, now that it's time for the artists to, like, have their, fair share in what's happening in the music world, people want to come at him like on some weird grime because it's all about money. I mean, right? Michael Jackson owned the entire catalog of the Beatles. The dude ended up unalived right before he was to renegotiate and get all of his masters back from Sony, right? Like, it's just, some people believe in coincidence. I certainly don't. I'm not a believer in coincidence. It's statistically a strikingly low thing that happens in life. Seriously, coincidences are like needles in haystacks. They are incredibly difficult to actually manifest or understand that that's what's been manifested. If something happens, it's because it's supposed to, right? Or because it was likely to happen. So, again, shout out to Drake. Keep that boy safe, you feel me? All he's trying to do is put out music, like, legitimately. At the end of the day, after all that money, after all that success, like, they still just want to put out music. And it's just so happens that millions of people like it. And, it's only appropriate to pay. And again, as an independent artist, these guys can lower costs. Imagine buying a Drake album for $5, knowing that that entire $5 went to Drake. I mean, that's a better system and setup than any other royalty system that companies have put in place, right? Right. That is true. So yeah, you might not be able to release it on Spotify or Tidal, but who listens to Spotify or Tidal? Nobody. I'm sorry, nobody listens to these websites. Anyways, I hope that you guys have a really good night. Thank you for watching my show, and I promise I'm going to have so much more content for you. I just am doing my best to procrastinate to the absolute last second. It's what I do. It's what I'm good at. I don't particularly find it, like fun or but it is what I do. So I hope that you guys are really well. Okay, seriously, thank you so much for watching. I know the camera's all busted up. We've gone through a new phone. I had to take it back. Life happens. So can't wait to talk to you tomorrow, Brian. Anyways, I hope that you guys have a good night and take care. All right, bye.